Good evening, and welcome to. How come I can hear myself? That's it, it's gone now. Right, good evening, and welcome to Thfc Till I Die, your home at Tottenham from past to present. Look, all joking aside, the last 48 hours has been embarrassing. From the fan base, from people on social media, for people that enjoy thinking it's banter to them, but it isn't banter to others. We need to realize that what we say on any social media platform will hurt. It's easy for me or Philip to say we suffer with mental health. I do. I do suffer with mental health, and I'll admit that. So I'm a bit sensitive of what people will say to me, and I do take it to heart, to me own badness, probably, and not badness, but my own personality as I am. But what is it going to take for YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, for them to step in and stop this hate speech that is going around at the moment on any social media things? There's one thing in supporting whatever you support, supporting your team, supporting your family, supporting your friends. We have to realize what we say hurts. And there's people that don't give a shit what they say. There's people that don't care what they say, what they put out on Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever, who don't care of the consequences. We've seen too many people crumble under the pressure of people's abuse. Either it's in your personal life, either it's on Facebook, or either it's on Instagram, either it's on any platform. Has it got to take for somebody to do something drastically for these social medias to take notice? We get taken down for doing Aussie's Dream or showing a match 1992. We'll get taken down like that, or we'll get copyright strike. But people can go onto all platforms and say what they want, and this is going through the whole of society, from Donald Trump, what he put to people that are anti this, anti that, and it's got to stop. Philip, look, I could go on and on. We've talked a lot about this over the last 48 hours, and this has got nothing really to do with the football or with what we're seeing also within the fan base, which is bordering on civil war.
Yeah, it seems that
what does YouTube? I mean, Philip, just question that, and I'll let you come in. Social media has to do something about this, surely. If we get taken down for showing a bloody match from 1992, or put a bit of Aussie's Dream just to give us a bit of a lift, and we get done for that. But people, the likes of Donald Trump, the likes of far-right people that can put stuff on platforms and not a word is said about them. Yeah. Where will it go, Philip? And you've got more experience than I have in all your life experiences. Was it always like this, and where has it gone wrong as a society?
No, I mean, social media is a phenomenon of the last 20 years, really. And up to that, there was none of this. Okay, there was a bit. I mean, there was email and there was phone calls and there was text messages and all that, but nothing to the extent that social media dominates everybody's daily life now. But what you say is quite right. I mean, you can be knocked off this for the most innocuous thing, playing a copyrighted song or a bit of a clip of a match that the Premier League have copyright over. There should be people monitoring the speech on these things. I thought there was. There used to be on Twitter until Elon Musk took it over. But he seems to be, it's a free-for-all on there now. And that seems to be the other media channels like YouTube, Instagram, whatever, seem to have gathered up the same principles of let anything go. which is fine. Free speech, we're all for free speech. But when some of the free speech is bordering on hatred and can severely affect the person it's aimed at, if you're not involved and you can look at it and say, oh well, that's tough. But if you're the object of some of these posts and you're in a vulnerable place, or you're not strong, or your personality is you're open to criticism like that, you take it very much to heart. God knows what you could do. I mean, it's something needs to be done, but there's not enough highlighting in the world as to the lack of. I won't call it censorship, because I don't think we want censorship, but the lack of monitoring that goes on social media. I mean, we've seen posts in the last couple of days, Dermot, that, to be honest with you, should have been strangled at birth and not allowed or taken down immediately they were spotted. But they're not. They're up there and will continue to be up there. And the people that are making them are now got the bravado, knowing it's not going to be taken down, and they're going to get even worse. And that is absolutely criminal.
Now, we could say something on this stream, Philip. Now you've said some things. I mean, to be fair, Philip, you know what I mean. You will speak what your mind speaks, and there's no disrespect to you, Philip. And we've had a laugh about it, and we do joke about it. But there's times we've said something innocently, and we've been taken down.
Well,
and that's where does the line draw, Philip? Do you know? Is it now? Come on, you got these social companies have to do something, Philip. Do they? Or is it because
there's not people monitoring the posts? I'll give you an example. I have a channel I have a YouTube channel that I post music videos from the band I play in, right? And I often get copyright claim because we happen to play a song that's written by somebody that's maybe claiming the copyright. But we play those songs in a venue that pays royalties.
Yeah.
So I just ignore it, But they're watching that. I could put a video and within 10 minutes it would have been up. I've got this copyright claim on it. They should be doing the same on hate posts against people that maybe not be in the position to defend themselves or are badly affected. We know people have been badly affected by these posts. And I'm horribly, I'm annoyed, I'm sick, and I'm just fed up of these guys getting away with it and then laughing at it. I mean, we've seen it. I've seen a post recently now where a guy posted something horrible, really horrible, about another Spurs fan, and he's now boasting that post has increased his fan base. He's now got more subscribers. I wonder, is that the reason? Are people using shock tactics to get more notoriety? It means more people will go and listen to the crap that they're spilling out. So anyway, I don't know.
Look, Philip. Look, I'm sick to death of it. And I mean, in your years as a Spurs fan, Philip, and you've seen a lot in your years as a Spurs fan. Have you ever seen this fan base so divided and so fighting amongst themselves over,
No.
even in the bad old relegation days?
No. Well, the one season in relegation, there was no social media. There was nothing, but it was just people crying into their beer that time. And that's all you could do, But now, the fact that social media has overtaken so many aspects of people's lives. Excuse me. I think it's got to the stage now where I think the catalyst, what lit the blue touch paper on Sunday was losing to Arsenal.
Yeah.
It's been bubbling along there nicely for a while, but that was the catalyst. Added that to the fact that we haven't signed any players, the uncertainty of a Conte's contract, the fact that everything we seem to Tottenham turn at the moment seems to turn to shit. And that's not the way it should be. And it all goes back to we respect everybody's opinion, providing they're lawful and non-discriminatory, right? But it appears that not everybody has got that. It's got to the stage now where people that were once friends are now calling each other out because they have different opinions and calling each other names and getting very nasty and personal about it. It shouldn't be like that.
No.
I mean, let's face it, for God's sake, it's only a football team. It's not a matter of life and death, but it could well be a matter of life and death if somebody gets a post that really affects them and affects their mental health and gets them to do something stupid, silly, or uncalled for. If you know what I'm coming from there.
Yeah,
And
look. We've seen it in the past, Philip. We've seen it with teenagers over here. You know yourself over here in Ireland, the suicide rate for teenagers is unacceptable
yeah,
because of bullying, because of girls being bullied on social media, on Facebook.
yeah, yeah, that's
Um,
right.
you have to fit in. You have to do this. You have to do that. And because we don't think or we don't follow the leader, we're not entitled to our opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter if you Levy in, Levy out, Conte in, Conte out. Doesn't matter if Arsenal, Spurs, Man United fan, Chelsea fan, Liverpool fan. We'll have banter with you, but you
yeah.
will
Oh,
be respected on this channel. You will
we love
be heard.
and
But
yeah, yeah,
what we won't stand for is one sign of bullying or one sign of there's banter. But if we see that banter going too far, you will be
yeah,
timed out. And then if we
exactly.
see that, we'll give you a warning. If you don't heed the warning, you will be blocked.
Yeah,
We
that's
will
it.
not stand for that on this channel. I've
No,
seen. I'm just. I've had enough of it, Philip, and I've had. I've had it myself last year, which I won't go into. I took a month out, um, and I will not stand by and see other people being bullied. I will not stand
no.
by and do it. I
I
won't do it
think
anymore.
the rule of thumb I'm going to give, I hope you agree with me on this for this channel,
Mm,
for our channel here now, right? Is if you come on and have a different opinion to what we have, we will listen to you respectfully. We will disagree with your opinion, but we will not call you names. We will not insult you. We will not make you. Will not belittle you because we don't agree with your views. We will have a good, honest chat about it, and we'll part with as friends. That's the way it should be. That's the way it will
mm.
be. Any other way, it's not going to happen on this channel.
No,
That's
football
that's
is about opinions, isn't it,
yeah,
Philip? It's all about opinions. We don't always agree, but we can agree respectfully. And respect is a bigger word. I mean, look, we got this one here from Tequila 316. Relegation was before my time, but there was a really big uproar over Martin Yole, which we all remember, Philip. Firing me included. We will never forgive Levy for what he did to Big Martin Yole. Look, I agree with that. I mean, we never will forgive him for what he did with Martin Yole. Mo was he really was one of us, wasn't he, Philip?
he
Back
was.
when he
He
was,
was. I mean, the song was "We love Martin Yall, Martin
yeah,
loves us." No, I mean that was
yeah,
Martin Yall was a real. He was the first manager really that we had that identified with the players in the Levy era.
mm,
I know that we had Glenn Hoddle, who was an ex-player. That didn't really work out. Then
no,
we had Santini and Frank Arneson and what have you. But Martin Yall and Martin Yall still loves the club for all that
mm,
happened to him. Like there's a guy now that's an example that we can make
mm,
of there. Martin Yall was treated probably more unfairly than any Spurs manager in the history of the club. To be fired at half time during a Europa League game or a UEFA League game, whatever it was, and yet he still loves the club. What does
mm,
that say about the guy?
mm.
Really, what a
Yeah,
class
it
act
is.
he was.
It is a class act, and I remember that game, and I remember being a teenager at that time, Philip, or in my I think early 20s. When did he resign? When did he get
In
sacked?
2006, 2007, around that time, I think.
Oh, I was well married then, so yeah, I was well in my 20s then.
You're
I
under
was
the
well under the
thumb
thumb then. Um, um, and I remember thinking, where has my club? Where has my club gone? And we
yeah.
look at it now, and where has the club gone? Where has the Bill Nick spirit gone? Do you know where has the Bill Nick authors, if you know what I mean, Philip? Like the blueprint, the foundations, that what we were built on, what Tottenham Hotspur meant, what the
Mm,
name meant to fans.
yeah. Well, the
Look,
warning signs were there in 1984
yeah,
when Pete Birkinshaw came out with a famous statement on his last day in charge. There used to be a football team in there,
mm,
a football club in there. Now, what was he inferring at? It had become too big business orientated or
yeah,
too in other sideline efforts. And let's face it, ENIC. Don't forget the third letter in ENIC stands for investment,
mm,
and that's what that's an investment company. They're out to make money for the shareholders.
mm.
They're not out to please us,
No,
and that is probably the whole problem. If you had an owner that was a greater love of the club, then we wouldn't be having these conversations. We'd all be
no.
happy. We'll be sitting there
Break,
with a full squad that played.
yeah, breaking news. So Jim Ratcliffe, I've just saw it on my phone as well. Sky News are reporting it as well. The richest man in Britain is in the process of buying Manchester United.
Well, that's relegating us further down the pecking order, isn't it?
Yeah, and then Tequila says good for him. Well, I know what Tequila meant, actually. I don't think it's better. I know what he meant by that. So good for him. He wanted to, I think Tequila 316 wanted to him at Tottenham. Listen, Tequila, can you send us some Tequila slammers down as well when you're there? I think we can do them after this show. I'm telling you. Andrew Gregory put a football man who loves Spurs like Martin Yo should be on the board. Exactly. I agree with that.
Well, I don't. I couldn't even tell you who's on the Tottenham board. I really couldn't, But I get the feeling they must be. Let me just say, they a lot of them may not have minds of their own to the extent that we would like them to have minds of their own.
Yeah.
They're probably agreeing with Martin with Levy. Probably are. I don't know, but I've seen nothing coming down from the board that there's still any confidence in me.
No. And big up to Mia as well. Mia, how are you? Let me know if you're still on. Let me know if you're still on live tonight. If you want to also pop on, you're more than welcome to pop on me and Philip. We're already on to 5:30. So if you want to pop on so you can give your channel a plug, do so. Because everyone, please get over to Spurs Between the Lines. I think she's going live tonight. So
live at 7, I think. Yeah.
That statement spot on, Andrew. Look, Philip. We what did the club have to do? Look, I watched We Are Tottenham TV today, and big up to Sim and Ben. They do great content. I do enjoy some of their content over there, really do. And I've met them once. Really, really, really nice lads as well. They're as frustrated as any Spurs fans. But I think it was Ben that said it. It's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
In that way, since 2001.
Yeah.
Really. How many managers have been? 14 managers? I've lost count of the managers we've had, I think, while keeping it between the as neutral as it can get. I know there's people there that are Levy out and there's Levy in. I think at this stage, we've come to the point in Tottenham's existence, we have probably the best manager we've had since Bill Nicholson, right?
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, whether it's him that won't commit to Spurs or Spurs won't commit to him, but we're in a limbo. We're in a push me, pull you situation now that is doing the club absolutely no good. Conte has got to say to Daniel Levy, listen, Daniel, if you give me the money I want to buy the players I want, I will stay and sign my new contract.
Yeah.
Daniel Levy doesn't seem to want to commit to that, which means basically we come to the end of January and there's no signings been made. Daniel Levy is not going to sack Conte because he's not going to want to pay out the 14 or 15 million release clause or compensation, or whatever you want to call it, which means we've literally got a lame duck manager making do with what he's got for the rest of the season. And can you imagine where we're going to finish in the league with performances that have been going on recently? We'll be lucky to be halfway. There'll certainly be no European football at Tottenham. Conte will walk away on 30th of June with his reputation pretty much intact because people know what it's like to deal with Daniel Levy. We'll struggle to get a new manager because don't worry, the footballing management world knows what they'll be letting themselves in for. So we're going to get another substandard manager in the likes like Nuno coming back in, because forget about the likes of getting Thomas Tuchel or even Jurgi Low. I don't think Jurgi Low would risk his reputation coming to Spurs, even much as I'd love to see him.
He'll look at us, Philip, and laugh. What am I going to that joke of a club for? So that's exactly.
So, all I can say is he'd probably have either Neil Warnock, Sam Allardyce, or Alan Pardew on speed dial, because that's the level we're going to be at next season. And that frightens me no end. So,
look, I mean, people are saying about Poch coming back. I mean, would you, if Conte did go right, and Poch was given a rebuilding job with a load of youngsters, with sell Kane, with sell Son, and we start with from the ground again, would the fans accept another rebuild, Philip, or has it gone past that now? That look, enough is enough.
Well, there's another thing that came out this afternoon on social media that worries me, where it says Tottenham won't stand in the way of another bid for Harry Kane. Right? So that means not only could we lose Conte in the summer, we might lose Harry Kane as well. because
Yeah.
you couldn't blame the guy. You couldn't really
No.
blame the guy. I mean, he must be scratching his head looking at what's going on there at the moment.
Yeah.
Now, as regarding Poch coming back, now I want to see Poch back at the club, but what worries me about that is that there's fors and against on this one. If
Mm.
he comes back, he's got the players like the likes of Eric Dyer, Hugo Lloris, and Ben Davis that were still there when he left the first time around.
Yeah.
I'm not including Son and Kane in that, but they were the players that I think went to Levy and wanted to get rid of him in the first place,
Yeah.
right? So if he comes back, you can see that his first act would be to clear them out, which is fair enough. We'd all be delighted with that. Poch coming back could be the only way we might hold on to Harry Kane,
Yeah.
possibly, and that's only me speaking out loud there.
Mm.
You know, so I just want to say that it looks like if we lose Harry Kane in the summer, we lose our manager in the summer, unless we get a decent manager in, which is unlikely, the rebuilding progress is going to be slow. And the
Mm.
fact that Man United are going to get rid of their hated owners, the Glazers now, means they're going to be pumped money into them. They're going to be on a different level than us next season. So
Mm.
this is make or break for Tottenham this season. If
Well,
this
Philip.
could be the last season we have in the top 4 or 5 for a long, long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Look, I've just gone onto the Spurs web now, and there's a bit of news here. I'll read it out to you, see what you think. Reports sponsorship deal could reach another level for Spurs after Harry Kane news. Now, this is by on the Spurs web, if people want to go and see it. It says here, according to finance expert Dr. Dan Pomley via Football Insider, the sponsorship deal between Tottenham and AIA could become even more lucrative. There are plans for Harry Kane to become a brand ambassador for the insurance company.
He already is. That was
Yeah.
announced a while ago.
Was it?
Yeah, the brand ambassador was. I read that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, well,
So
this is now. Well, anyway, the AA have been the main show sponsor of Tottenham since 2015. The club announced an extension to the deal in 2019, which will run
mhm.
through to 2027. The deal was believed to be worth 320 million.
Mhm.
Now, now, if you look at it the other way, Philip, if Kane goes, does that mean the sponsors will go? If you know what I mean, will it have
No, no.
will it have a trickling effect, or do you think it's the right time to sell Son and Kane and just start again?
Well, I think the fact that AIA have offered Harry an ambassadorship or whatever word it is you're looking for there to represent their company means that could be a ploy to try and keep him at the club. But if he goes, that won't affect the sponsorship. And it's a legal document. It's effective
Yeah.
up to 2027. So Harry Kane will probably be gone by then anyway. As regarding selling them, I mean, hard note as it is for me to say, I think we have to
Mm.
sell Son
Yeah, I think
because
so.
he's fallen off the planet since
Mm.
May. 3 goals to the season. When he was Golden Boot last year,
Mm.
and I think we can cash in on him now because his contract has 18 months to run.
Mm.
So we need to sell him in the summer to get anything for him. Other than that, we just be run down the contract job and get nothing for him. So I think it's best to cash in on Son in the summer. I wish him. I mean, we love him to bits, but
Yeah.
there comes a time when it's easy. It's better to pass than stay and fester and just performance-wise to degenerate into what he's done in the last while because he's not the
Look,
Son we come to love.
no, look, I look at it both sides, right? I want Conte to stay more than anybody. I love Conte at the team. He will bring us success. We won't go on for too much longer, Philip. So we know what he can do. But it
Yeah,
seems to be that we're in the middle of a Mexican standoff here.
yeah, that's it.
And we're not aligning. The board want to do one thing, Conte wants to do another thing. And there's no so surely there has to be some compromise in the middle.
Yeah, that you'd
Now
hope that. You'd hope
now
that.
if Conte, if the board and Levy are not happy with Conte, then get rid of him now. Just sack him now and get in a manager, get Poch back in if that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in hanging this out to the end of the season. I'm not going to sign a new contract. Well, we're not going to back you in January.
Yeah.
So then it puts our season into disarray. No
Yeah.
European football. So is it better now, Philip, cut ties now. If he won't, if Levy won't back him in the transfer window because he doesn't want to sign a new contract, then do you just sack him now, or does somebody have to compromise here? Does Conte have to compromise? Does Levy have to compromise? Meet in the middle for the best of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, not for the best of themselves, not for the best of Levy Canini, how much money they can make out of us, not for Conte, how much of a barrel he can get Levy over. Surely there should be somewhere along the line where people compromise and say, look, okay, I'll sign the contract for A, B, and C. Levy, okay, I'll knock out D and E. Do you know what I mean, Philip?
I know what you mean, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'll tell you what. Back in the day, when the likes of Keith Birkinshaw and Bill Nicholson were managers, they had loyalty to the club. It was in their blood, right? Unfortunately, now, like I've been banging on about players being mercenary and only depending, going to the club that pays the highest money. They're not really. It's a job to them. No matter who pays the highest, that's the one they'll align to. I'm afraid managers in that are getting to be the same.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, Daniel Levy sacks Conte now. He pays that 15 million, right? He won't do that. He won't do that. And also, it would also ruin. Well, I'll say, how can you ruin a reputation that's already been ruined? But it would further enhance the sort of his reputation in the game as being ruthless and not really knowing what he's doing most of the time. So he won't sack Conte. That's why I think Conte knows he's got him over a barrel here. Now, Conte should have been offered a longer contract than 18 months. 18 months is not long enough to rebuild a squad or a team, right? And that's been proved badly. We would be better off having Conte with another contract for another 18 months, bringing up to the end of next season. And then we wouldn't be having this conversation because he would have committed himself to the club. But he's not going to commit until Daniel Levy commits. And as you say, it's a Mexican standoff. And I wish just somebody would shoot first and get it over with. Because this day fortnight, the transfer window ends. Today, 2 weeks. And are we going to be sitting there tearing our hair out on transfer deadline day with no signings? We've done it before. Look what happened to Poch there twice. And I can see, if you think things are bad now in Camp Tottenham, they are going to be toxic by this day fortnight if things don't improve.
Yeah. I just want to quickly welcome Mia in. Welcome, Mia, another part of the team. And also Ellie.
I was cooking when I messaged.
Ellie's also in the chat as well, and big up Ellie as well. And thank you for putting the chats in. Mia, look, me and Philip started this show on social media, and what we've seen over the last 48 hours since the loss to Arsenal, and other things we've talked about it as well, having Mia as well as Philip, between ourselves. I started the show. What does social media need to do? And Mia, I'll ask you the same question before we get on to the Conte thing. We won't go on for much longer. Another 10 minutes,
okay.
guys.
If you want any of my further opinions, you can come and watch me live later. That was a good plug, right?
Yeah, but just give us a quick one. Give us a taste of what is.
We'll still give you a plug later.
Social media is a really difficult one because, like, basically people get round it, don't they, by not triggering certain trigger words that people can't say on social media. But it is bullying. Like, a lot of it is bullying because people will go for one person particularly and just call that person out, or they'll just all pile on somebody's opinion. Like, someone will post something and then everybody will pile on, and they'll send all their followers to pile onto their post. And I think there needs to be better restrictions for who is allowed to see your stuff, maybe, or I don't know, like, have it a bit more tighter so people cannot have that access if you don't want them to. Because to me, the problem is accessibility. Because if the fact is that I don't have a Twitter anymore, but mine was on private. No one I didn't want could not comment on my things. I had it private, but not everybody wants to do that. So it's a really difficult situation with social media. It really is, because I do feel like it's sometimes a bit of a pile-on more than anything, and then it gets too abusive, and then that's when they need to cut it off. Like actual threats need to be cut off. That person shouldn't be allowed back on Twitter, and what they need to do is have identification. So you prove who you are to go onto the platform, And then if you're basically, you've got your stuff all scanned up to Twitter, when you do it, if you get kicked off, that's it. You can't come back because your ID is going to identify you as somebody who's been on Twitter and been blocked from Twitter. That's the only way to do it.
I agree with that. I think that's the right way. Very, very quickly, Mia, before we finish off on this very short show, we do apologise. Me and Philip are back tomorrow with Newsbeat at 12:30, and we're back tomorrow. I think we're back early in the evening with a Man City sort of pre-match golden oldie time. Why is it? What's that for, Philip? Oh, hang on. Just talk for a minute. Hang on. I've got it here. Hang on.
You just mentioned Man City and I'm getting nervous already.
Can I just say, this is how I'll be watching Man City.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's how we'll be watching the game.
Listen. Dear. Yeah. I wouldn't like to be here on Friday morning if we lose badly on Thursday. I'll say it could be very toxic.
Right. I want to do a quick store poll. Mia, will Conte still be here by Monday? Yes or no?
Yes, because I don't think he's going to walk, and I don't think he's going to get sacked. I think it's like you said, a Mexican standoff as well with that too. Like, he won't walk because he doesn't want to walk and not get paid, and Levy doesn't want to sack him because then you have to pay him. It's only, I think, if it gets so toxic in the fan base, because there are people who want Conte out. And so for them people, they're going to be happy if Conte goes. So it's really like, it was a bit like the Jose situation. People all say, but Jose got sacked. But you wait, so many of our fan base got toxic over Jose and they wanted him sacked. So that's the problem, isn't it? Because some of our fans want Conte gone. It's really difficult. But I don't think he'll be gone, no.
Philip, the man
just very quickly on his press conference today.
I was going to ask you. That was my next question. I was going very quickly, Philip, on the press conference.
Yeah, well, I'll say he'll still be here. Yes, but the next point is about when he sort of semi-criticized the club for not wheeling out the medical team, the director of football, and the chairman to give their comments at the press conferences. It's always the manager that does it. And it's a very good point. It's something I've never even thought of before. Apparently in Europe, they all do it. They take their turns and go out and talk, And that's thrown me back to Sunday a little bit. I think the only player that came out and really faced up to the press was Eric Dyer. And fair dues to him for doing that. Can't have been easy. Hugo Lloris, captain, should have done it. But I imagine Hugo didn't do it for obvious reasons. But yeah, it was a good point. The medical team, like our medical team, we've had a lot of queries about the way they've been treating players and whatever. And it'll be a good opportunity for the press to have a chance to quiz them on their methods. And like now, is Bentancur fit for Thursday? Hopefully he is. Questions like that, the medical team can answer.
Yeah. Well, I've got these quote here, Philip. I was going on to it. We're in sync. You and me, Philip. We really are. He says, speaking about the bad habits in the Premier League, which sees only managers speak in front of the cameras, he said, I have seen the club chairman. I've seen the club chairman or sporting director come here to. I've never seen the club chairman, Daniel Levy or Paratici, come here to explain the strategy and the vision of the club. In Italy, in every game, there is a person from the club who has to go before the media. I think for us, it could really be really better. Otherwise, there's only one face to explain the situation that I think is better for the club to explain. It's habit, and I respect this habit. In Italy, it's different. Otherwise, it means that if the coach talks, there can be a misunderstanding, and I think it could be good for the club to present in the media. Not every week, but at least every 15 days or once a month. I think it could do more. I think it could be more simple for you to understand. Not always the same. Otherwise, it can seem if something is criticism or negative. And it's not the case. And Philip, I think he's spot on here.
Oh, he is.
In Italy, you see it in Spain, you see it in Italy, you see it in Germany, you see it in other European top leagues. The sporting director or the chairman will come out once a month and give a brief statement that, do you know what I mean? This is what's happening at the club. This is our vision. This is what we're going to do. Could you see Daniel Levy coming out in front of the press, right? Say next Monday, right? Okay, guys, I'm here. Ask me all the questions you want. And would we get any answers? Probably not. Probably from Paratici, yes. but Levy probably not. But it would that ease the frustration within some of the fan base, Philip, if that did happen?
No, I don't think Levy coming out would ease the frustration, but it might increase it because there's no way he'd answer the questions. He'd no way he'd answer the questions correctly. I think Paratici could come out and do a good job, and the medical team should. And I would not be a bit surprised if at the next home match, whenever that is, I wouldn't be a bit surprised it happens. I really tell you, because that would be an indication of Conte, what his power is like at the club if this actually happens at our next home game. Interesting.
Yeah, Mia?
Yeah, I think as well, don't forget, no matter what Levy would say, it'll be scrutinised, and there always are going to be people who are not happy or satisfied with whatever he says. Whatever he says, people aren't going to be happy about it. So I don't think it does any. I think it's probably going to do more bad than good, like Philip said. Honestly, I just don't know if it would really particularly help, because people will just get more wound up by his answers and say he didn't answer this, or he didn't answer to how I wanted him to answer. So it would just cause more trouble, in my opinion.
And then on the Pedro deal, we will go into more depth in this tomorrow, Philip, with our Newsbeat transfer show.
I think the news is that Spurs at Sporting, they want to accept, they'll pay the asking price, but it'll have to be paid in installments. So they're literally buying Pedro Porro on the HP.
Yeah.
But that happens with most transfers. That happens with most transfers. Nothing unusual about that, but it's whether Sporting will agree to it.
Yeah, and Sporting seem to be quite happy with that for what I'm reading. So,
and also, I was watching Sean earlier. Shout out to Sean, and he was saying that if we say we bought him outright and paid that money, if we want a player like Doherty to go, then we'd have to ask that whoever wanted him to pay the money up front and not paying installments, and that then affects us in that way. So if we pay up front, then we're going to expect our player to be paid for up front, and then that means that we might not be able to sell him because we're asking for that money up front. So it does have like a knock-on effect if you pay up front, and I don't know if people realise that. So I do think
it's a cash flow situation. It's managing cash flow, really.
How can we, guys? How can we not be struggling at December? Is supposed to be the 10th richest club in the world. I just can't get my head around that.
10th richest asset wise, and the cash is different. I mean, how many people? Do you remember back in the day here when all the English, after World War One, all the old country estates and the Downton Manors of this world, they were huge, rich in assets, but they hadn't got a pot to piss in money wise.
No.
So and this is what we are. We've got assets to beat the band. But the bank have a tight control over the cash that we're using.
And the issue is as well, people conflate that with having money. So they conflate the two. And like Philip just said, just because you've got assets doesn't mean you've got money. I could have something that's worth a lot of money, but it doesn't mean I've got that money in my hand. It means I've got something that's worth that money.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Last thing before we get you to plug your channel, Mia, and then I want to end off on just how we started the show, if that's okay with you, Philip.
Yeah.
Ali Gold said Kulu was the only one who spoke to him. The rest had their heads down. Well, that shows that Kulu's got a bit of guts and a little bit of what it means to be a Spurs man, a Spurs player. Fair play to you, Kulu. You've gone up in my aspiration on that. Guys, look, we're going to end it there. Mia, do you want to give a plug? 7 o'clock tonight on Spurs Between the Lines. Mia is unleashed on YouTube live.
Lock up your door.
We should do we should, before you go on, Mia, you should do Space Oddity 2001. Really give it a good fanfare.
Oh God, more like some sort of like a music from The Exorcist or something, maybe something like that.
Yeah, that might work how the mood is at the moment.
Or The Great Escape.
Yeah,
the Great Escape. Yeah. But yeah, I'll be live. Obviously, I've got my other videos. If you would like to go over, give me a subscribe and a watch of those videos. I'll be so grateful. And tonight, I really need support. So if you could all come in and support me, I would be. So I'm nervous.
Yeah, and who's on there with you tonight, Mia?
It's Jack. oh, Jackie boy is coming to support me, so I'm not alone, because I think I couldn't do it alone. I think I would
and I
be.
think
You're
I'm
in good
behind.
company there. You're in great company there with Jack.
Great company,
Yeah.
and I'm going to do your moderating for you, as
Yep.
you do a lot for us. So I be in the mod. So everyone behave in the chat, or you will get suspended.
Dun, dun,
Ooh.
dun.
Oh, well, good luck, mate. I hope it goes well for you.
Yeah, good luck,
Thank
Mia.
you.
All the very best. Look, guys, we are going to end off there, but I want to end off on one thing. Be kind to each other out there. Be nice to each other. But leave my fecking mates alone, my family alone.
Yeah.
Don't go after one another. Be nice to one another. If somebody doesn't agree with you, fine. Respectively disagree with them. Be very careful, because what you say does hurt people. People have feelings. It can. It's the difference from somebody with thick skin and not having thick skin.
Yeah.
Respect other channels. If you go into a channel, respect the channel, respect the host, respect the guests.
Yeah.
If
I can
you're on,
one thing to that, Dermot, if never say anything to someone that you wouldn't like said to yourself.
exactly. And I know I said leave my mates and leave. That's just me getting hot-headed, because I've seen what's happened, and I'm just really protective over people, certain people. But look, we've got to change. We've got to be nicer to one another. It's only a football team at the end of the day. Yeah, Tottenham means everything to us, but it's football is the most popular sport in the world. We can all get on. Doesn't matter if you're Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, whatever. We human beings at the end of the day. Love your brother. Love your sister along the way. Because nobody's perfect. But as the song goes, walk a mile in their shoes. If you haven't walked a mile in their shoes, don't go throwing stones in glass houses, because you won't like if it was put back on you.
Yeah, exactly. Well said, Dermot.
All I'm going to say is good night. We're back tomorrow at 12:30, me and Philip. Just got a last comment in there. There you go. Yeah, whatever happens, we're still Tottenham till I die. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.